So we're doing Torah in 10, Rav Tzadok on Parshas Chukas. So he brings the pasuk, V'yishlech Hashem ba'am es nechashim asrafim. Right, Hashem sent these poisonous snakes to the nation. Rav Tzadok says, wait a minute, who sent? Hashem, Havaya, or Elokim? He says Hashem. Hashem is, what is Hashem? Hashem's din? Right, Rachamim. What's this Rachamim? You send your friend a snake, and you say, well, that's my mercy on you. That's a great mercy, huh? That's the question, right? What's the shame of Vaya? It's Rachamim. How do you say by this owners? This is a punishment. What's the Rachamim? Oh, so Tzadok's going to give us something very, very, very important. He said also this banner. What's this banner? Sarah, if you make this like this snake flag. Oh, you look at it now. You better. What's going on? He says like this. He said you have to know that whatever Hashem does, the tochachos of Hashem also rebukes the difficulties. That's all 100% rachamim. 100%. Rachamim gemurim. All rachamim. Because it says in the pasuk, the person who Hashem loves, he's the person who he will rebuke. When a person has like an easy life, and you meet the guy's like spoiled or whatever he's going through, it's like everything's easy, everything's simple. He has no content and he has no connection. He's got nothing. His whole life is not, no, he did this and I did this and I that. And you talk to someone, he's got no, there's no, who's the real person? Just everything's thrown on him, everything brachas, it's all great, and there's nothing really there. You have to be able to learn how to search, how to find yourself. If you don't search, you'll never find yourself. It's like cutting a gem. If you don't cut it, you're not going to get anywhere. Same thing, you create a gem underground also. How do you get a diamond? There's pressure. Pressure is what forms what's precious and valuable. Without pressure, there is no preciousness. It's like not really, it doesn't happen. Because humans, we have this selfishness. We're not going to necessarily get that without being pushed. He says, all the tochachos also. What does it say in Kisav, all these tochachos? What does it say? The rebukes in Kisav, terrible things. Havaya, Hashem. What is Hashem? Do you know? The tochachos, all these things, they're difficult to deal with, they're very, very hard, but they really are rachamim gmurim. Even though we can't understand the particulars, how is that rachamim gmurim? Still, this is the way it is. And Mashiach's going to explain it to us. So Menachem says Mashiach's going to explain it to us. The Ramchal says Navi will explain it to us. The same difference. Lamaisa, there's an Indian that we're going to know why and we're going to know how. Yeah. Just you have to understand. You have to know, so that's the first answer. The answer is really everything that happens is tremendous rachamim. I mean, firstly, the Rambam famously explains that he says you never know what's good. One guy breaks his leg, and he's like, so I was like, why I feel so bad for you, it's so terrible. He's like, is it terrible? I don't know, maybe not. The draft people come from the government the next day, and I think every able-bodied man except him, his leg's broken. So it's not so terrible. Now it was a good thing. Saved his life maybe. Saved his life. Just we don't know. So very often, this is my father's fond of saying, "Lamaisi shouldn't be well." Very often, you look later and you see later, 20 years later, 30 years later, you're like, "Wow, that was the best thing that could happen to me for my development as a human being, for my becoming a mensch, for my finding myself." That might save me. That challenge really made me who I am today. That failure at the time, I thought it was horrible, but really, it was very good. It was very good. Again, that pressure made me grow into who I am today. If not, without the pressure, so you coast. It's a success you celebrate. Fine. But that doesn't mean that you got anywhere from it. It didn't give you any extra. So that's the first thing you have to know. The Maisa, everything that Hashem does is 100% rachamim. 100% rachamim. So you have to know, he's putting this banner up. You looked up to this snake. It's like Moshe Rabbeinu putting his hands up in the Melchemes Amalek. You have to know it's from Hashem. You have to get this concept. This saraf, really, it's the poison. It's the difficulties. It's the fighting. It's the challenges and the struggles. But that is how, when you realize that is from Shamayim, that's from Hashem. When you understand that is the ticket. Otherwise, the Baal Shem Tov generally says that a lot of Yisurim that people go through, of course, there are things that are objectively tremendously painful. But most of the Yisurim most people deal with is their own bad attitudes. Person takes it and makes it into a big deal. He blows it up. He's self-focused, so it's much, much worse. Rosh Mulhumaner, when he was at the end of his life, he was very, very ill. He had the machla, it was terrible suffering, and he would scream out, cry out, "Oy, oy!" And every time he said "oy," he said, "I'm complaining, it hurts, so I'm crying out." So he would say, "No, I'm not complaining though. Whatever you want." And you should know his whole shita was practical bitachon. He was very into this idea of you're supposed to focus on Hashem doing things, and sometimes the answer is no, like the Zohar says. But if you believe it, it's going to happen. Not just, well, it might happen. It's everything Hashem does good. Not only that, He'll do what you want. He had a lot of big. He was once walking from he did Pilut in Eilat. He was on the road at like 2 in the morning, 1 in the morning. He was go to Eilat to help people put on tefillin and be mechazik didn't. And he was walking on the road. So this guy's driving by and he sees his Rebbe, Shmuel, is walking on the road. He's like, he dropped the voice. Rebbe, like, take it. Where are you going? He's going to Yerushalayim. No, I'm also going to Yerushalayim. So the driver's like, honestly, you're walking from Eilat? Like, what's the deal? He got up to hitch and he's walking. I don't know where he was exactly. He's like, what? He's like, I made a commitment never to sleep outside of Israel if I can help it. I don't sleep outside of Israel. Eilat is outside of the official borders of Halachi Eretz Yisrael. So he said, here I am in Eilat. I had an onus. I had to stay.
Is that true?
Yes. He said, I had an onus. I had to stay. So, what do I do? He said, I can't sleep here because I'm not supposed to sleep outside of Israel. So what am I going to do? I'll walk till the morning, then someone will pick me up. No problem. Or whatever, Hashem will send me an S. He's waiting. So again, in the Biduk, the Talmud, he had the whole story. How did he get there even? He hardly knew himself. Lost. Some crazy thing. It just all worked out. So the Bitachon has a tremendous koach. There's like, no, there's no way of knowing where you can go and what you can do with Bitachon. And even though he was Mr. Bitachon, here he is at the end of his life, he's having such a hard time. Everything is, okay, so it's for the best, and that's the way it has to be. And when a person takes on this attitude, he's just to live this way. He's just to understand, everything's from Hashem. It's okay. Why not have such a bad attitude? Why not have to take? It's such a, you think it's like almost you have a contract. You have a contract with someone. He doesn't fulfill the contract, so you're righteously angry. We have an agreement. We have a deal. Listen, Hashem doesn't have a deal with anybody. We don't have any rights. So what's going on? What right? Why are you so upset? Why are you feeling so? Oh, it's terrible. It's not terrible. It's all from Hashem. It's all exactly what it's supposed to be. It's all exactly how it's supposed to be. And we have to have the right attitude. We have to have this kind of attitude and take it with the joy. Generally speaking, it nullifies the pain. The Kamarna says, we're not doing Kamarna yet, but the Kamarna says in a different context, brief the Baal Shem Tov, that any tsar, any pain a person experiences, they go through. He said, giving life to that, like everything else in the world, which we're not going to go into the technical of how right now, but giving life to that is going to be through the names of Hashem. There's got to be divine names in there, giving vitality, even to this place where a person's going to suffer. If you can reveal those divine names and uplift them by accepting what you're going through and saying, okay, I accept this is for the best, like doing your best to be positive, he said, you pick up the names and the creed just melts away because it dissolves. There's nothing giving you vitality anymore. The Baal Shem Tov brings the Gemara. The Gemara says, in a person says, to win is the ultimate Yisurin. A person puts his hand in the pocket. I want a 10 shekel piece, pull out a 5 shekel. Oh, I need a 10. He tries again. That's the ultimate Yisurin. So Baal Shem Tov's like, that's Tachlis Yisurin. He says, Tachlis also means purpose. And he says, if you learn from your little mishap, and you say, wow, Hashem's calling me. I need to come back to Hashem. He said, then you won't have to have the difficult things. Like generally, there are exceptions. There are things that a person, or from whatever he went through, this is certain landmarks he needs to have in his life. This he needs. This is something he needs. He's going to get it. That's the medicine for him, unfortunately. And generally speaking, we chose that medicine. That's the best chance we have of not blowing it. So you have to have this situation. Now you're like, yes, this will do it. It'll be hard, but it's kedai.
How do you reveal the names?
How do you reveal the names? By realigning yourself to Hashem, reconnecting, renewing your connection to Hashem, saying, why am I so upset? Why am I so confused? What's the deal? So that's what we spoke about earlier.
Like there's a yud and there's a...
You can, but mostly just remembering that it's from Hashem. And saying, the truth of the matter is that this is something which is for the best. I don't understand it, but this is for the best. And it's hard for me. And again, you have to experience the difficulty firstly, and then say, okay, I'm gonna. People tend to try to get out of this step. I forgot which Rebbe it was. He once went the Horn Stipler, I think. Not sure if it's him. I'm not 100% sure who it was. He came to his base medrash. It was a fire. It was terrible.
Which one? This one?
No. It was a long time ago. I'm not sure exactly which one. I don't even remember which Rebbe it is, let alone which one it was. But he was going and he was with his chassidim. I wrote this actually once, and I can find the source for you if you want. So, he looks. He's like devastated. Wow, his base medrash is on fire. And the firefighters come and they're doing. And then after a little bit, a minute or two, he's like starts to dance. Oh, Baruch Hashem, I'll make Torah Meitiv now. whatever, I'll make these brachas because you're supposed to make with joy, and they take the chaim. And then one of the chassidim, he wanted to understand. He said, Rebbe, I don't understand. What's the pshat that at first you were like taken aback? Aren't you supposed to feel the joy from initially on the first second? He's like, no, this is a big mistake people make. You have to feel the hardship, it hurts, and then move on. You can't pretend it didn't happen. It happened. Ko'ev. Now you go weiter. Now you go back. It happened. You deal with it however you deal with it. You understand this. It's from Hashem. Sometimes something's a little thing. It's my base medrash. It's hard to get. It's hard to replace. It's not $2. It's a lot of money. It's whatever. Hard to deal with. It's fun. But then you say no. It's from Hashem. You have to get to this hakar. So this is the thing. So we have to know it's all rachmik burim. We have to be able to experience what we're going through and put it completely behind us. And then we have a different life. Totally different life. Hashem should help. We should be zocher to the aura of emunah shlema, the aura of understanding that everything that Hashem does is rachamik burim.